Alright, Shalom Akim. Before I start off, like the first and foremost, give all honor, glory, and praise unto our Heavenly Father and His own begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rachakodash. Double honor to our apostles and elders, great millstone, taught us His truth, and rule well, and are the true leaders of the nation of Israel, right, which consists of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreign scattered abroad. I'm the brother Shamari, back with another lesson, and this serves as another quick update on World War III, all right, as it pertains to biblical prophecy. And, I woke up this morning, and I was searching through my subscription feed, and I came across the elder brother, Karatazar, out of Las Vegas. Okay, and, I saw the thumbnail and the caption, all right, and immediately, I was prompted to do a lesson on this too. All right, but it just goes to show you that, hey, these prophecies, man, they're readily coming to pass. Okay, the last few prophecies that we're watching for are the RFID microchip, okay, the mark of the beast, all right, and the World War III, okay, the destruction of America, aka Babylon the Great, all right, and this major conflict that's getting ready to pop off. You see? Now, right off the bat, just dealing with this article from United 24 Media, Ezekiel 38 comes to mind. All right, and I'm going to read a little bit of this, and I'm going to touch on that and grab a few scriptures. Lord willing, this be edifying and to the point. It says, Russia and Iran become official allies as Putin ratifies strategic partnership agreement. So Russia and Iran are official allies. All right. And we know, according to biblical prophecy, okay, these Russians, all right, the scriptures call them the land of Gog, all right, and Magog, in Ezekiel 38, all right, which they're going to be risen up, and be a guard unto Persia, modern day Iran, all right, Ethiopia, Libya, and Gomer, Turkey, and many other nations, all right, in this world war to oppose the West, man, all right, NATO and the EU, America, okay? And we know also that, certain of America's allies are going to be aligned with Russia in this Third World War, all right? And I'm going to grab another article which I found, how pretty much, Turkey and Russia are in talks over what's going on in the Middle East, with conflict and all that. But it says Russian leader Vladimir Putin has officially ratified a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement with Iran, formalizing the alliance between the two countries across multiple sectors. The decree was published on Russia's official legal information portal on April 21st. The agreement, signed in Moscow on January 17, 2025 by Putin and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, outlines cooperation between Russia and Iran in areas including defense. You see, Russia shall be a guard unto Iran, all right, and many other nations. Security, energy, transportation, investment, and infrastructure. It also includes collaboration in education, culture, information, technology, sports, and healthcare. It says, according to the document, both countries have committed to refrain from providing military assistance to any third party that engages in aggression against one of the signatories. The strategic pact had previously been approved by Russia's State Duma. With Putin's signature, the agreement has now entered into force, marking a significant expansion of Russia-Iran bilateral ties. Ezekiel 38. All right. Hey, the Lord is getting everything set up, setting the stage up for this World War III, man. All right. Which we know that it isn't going to blow out. These nations are going to, engage in a full-scale nuclear war before the MOTB is mandated and pushed throughout the whole earth. All right, things still have to play out. Okay, before the destruction and deliverance of the elect and our Lord Yahushua's return. But seeing everything in motion now lets us know that this is near. All right. It says earlier, the United States warned of possible military action in response to Iran's nuclear program, urging Tehran to return to negotiations. In reaction, Iran reportedly placed missiles on standby in underground facilities and threatened to target U.S.-affiliated sites in the region. You see, so these nations are being stirred up real quick. Revelation 11 and 14, the second one was passed, dealing with the Second World War. All right, 1939 and 1945. Okay. And behold, the third world cometh quickly. This third world war that's brewing up. All right. And we're seeing, the buildup up until, this full-scale conflict in the East. Okay. But yeah, as it says, Iran dealing with that whole nuclear program, okay, which the U.S. was bidding Iran to renew negotiations, which they were basically like, nah, and I believe Israel even had threatened to target their weapons program as well, certain facilities and, pretty much the U.S. and Israel were put on alert, over their uranium stockpile, And we know what the scriptures say about them small hats over in Israel too. The least of the flock shall draw them out, And they've been attacking them Houthi rebels over there in Yemen, all right, which are Iranian-backed militants. But it says Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, rejected talks under pressure, accusing Washington of attempting to interfere with the country's internal affairs. You see? So Russia, all right, Gog and Magog, okay, they're building these key alliances, all right, with these with Iran, as we're reading, okay, other Arab nations, all right, and again, pursuing Ezekiel 38, they're going to be a guard unto them, and this is all to combat the West, because remember, the whole, you had the Russian annexation of Crimea, all right, the full-scale invasion of Ukraine back in 2022, which Ukraine, that was a part of the USSR back then, all right, and, dealing with NATO, the West, they've been trying to get an advantage, which is why there's been, this retaliation and, conflict over there between Russia and Ukraine, because I think at one point in time, Ukraine was on track to become a NATO ally, all right, but since, you had Trump withdrawing aid to Ukraine, you remember the previous administration under Biden was pumping billions into Ukraine, and America's getting side-eyed by its allies and everything, Okay, we know that the allies of America shall turn as well. The beast shall hate the whore. All right. And America, that was one of Ukraine's key funders in this war. Real quick. Bear with me a second. Just want to look this up. So I'm reading something off screen here. How much money has the United States provided Ukraine? The U.S. Congress has voted through 5 bills that have provided Ukraine with aid since the war began. Doing so most recently in April 2024. The total budget authority under these bills, the headline figure often cited by the news media, is $175 billion. The historic sums have helped a broad set of Ukrainian people and institutions, including refugees, law enforcement, and independent radio broadcasters, though most of the aid has been military-related. It says dozens of other countries, including most members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, and European Union, EU, are also providing large aid packages to Ukraine. All right. Just look something up real quick. Grab this real quick. WWIII and 9. Because this is what's going on. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. WWIII and 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. War is being prepared. All right. These nations are being stirred up to fight this war over there in the east. Okay. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men, which are the armies of these nations. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks and the spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Okay. Which is why, a large amount of global spending has been geared toward weaponization. All right. And, military spending. Okay, as opposed to agriculture or infrastructure. Hence, beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks, which those are both agricultural tools. All right. And the spears. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Yeah, because these nations, which at one point in time weren't, the most strong, militarily, now possess nuclear armaments. All right. And are increasing their military strength, so to speak. That's why, the U.S. was pressing Iran over their nuclear program, and trying to talk a peace deal. All right. Which them Iranians, rejected. So I got some info off screen from CBS News and The Guardian, which says NATO and European Union leaders have expressed significant concern over Donald Trump's decision to suspend U.S. military aid to Ukraine. The move was made without prior consultation with NATO allies, leading to unease and a sense of urgency among European nations to reassess their defense strategies. In response to the U.S. policy shift, NATO has assumed coordination of Western military aid to Ukraine, a role previously held by the United States. This transition aims to ensure continuity and support for Ukraine amidst uncertainties regarding U.S. commitment. And this is all leading to the beast hating the whore, all right, among other things, okay? So Turkey, mentioned Turkey, all right? The Turkish prime minister, has been throwing out anti-American rhetoric. All right. You even had Hungary, the Hungarian prime minister, with the same sentiment. But this was as of recent, just news on Turkey and Russia. It says the Daily Sabah, Turkey, Russia to hold Middle East talks in Istanbul. Turkey and Russia are set to hold deputy foreign minister level consultations in the Middle East in Istanbul on Friday, diplomatic sources said Thursday. During the consultations, Nuh Yilmaz will present Turkey and Minister Mikhail Bogdanov will represent Russia, the sources added. The consultations are expected to include a comprehensive exchange of ideas on regional issues, particularly Syria and Palestine. Turkey attaches the importance to consulting with Russia in the context of developments in the Middle East, the sources said. Turkey, a key player in Ukraine war mediation efforts, helped reach agreements on critical issues such as grain exports and prisoner exchanges. Still, despite occasional proposals from both sides, broader peace talks have failed to progress, mainly due to incompatible demands and underlying distrust. Among a few countries that have maintained good ties with Russia and Ukraine, Ankara is still committed to acting as an intermediary to find a permanent solution. Okay? But we know that Turkey is, according to Ezekiel 38, going to be aligned with Russia and these other nations, man, against this place, America. All right? But I'm continuing on that Joel 3, verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause our mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, which is over there in the east. All right, Yahweh-Shaphat meaning the valley of the Most High's judgment. For there will I sit to judge the heathen round about. So that's why this world war is going to, pop off. So the Lord can judge them, because upon Yahweh's return, all right, who the world innately calls Jesus Christ, he's going to show up in the midst of them fighting over there in the east. Okay? With his armada, his fleet of angels, and they're going to waste their armies over there. All right? As well as recover the elect. Okay? Deliver the elect from the four winds of heaven. Verse 13, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Basically going into how, this is, that time is, this is getting ready to go down, man. Multitudes in the valley of decision. But the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, right? Just over there in the east, man. That's where this major conflict is going to pop off. Right now, I'm going to get Ezekiel 38. I'm going to start from the top. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Right, this is dealing with Russia. Okay? Gog and Magog. And say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Right, which that chief prince, okay, which Russia, it means chief prince, but it goes back to the Hebrew. All right, Ra'ash Shah. Okay, Ra'ash, chief, Shah, okay, prince. All right. Of Meshech and Tubal. Okay, now even though, all right, and the earliest Russians were the Scythians, okay, and they were Israelites. Hence, you got the Israelite icons. I mean, the Russian icons, which they depict the Israelites, right? They're dark skinned. Depictions of the prophets, all right, the Lord. That's why Putin came up there and showed, that Russian icon of the Lord to the world, all right? Now, even though you see Putin up in there in these churches, holding sticks of incense. Nevertheless, all right, the Most High is against him and these Russians, okay, because they are the stock of Edom. That's not to say that you don't have Israelites among them that may be saved in these end times. All right, but for the most part, them Russians, man, they're of the stock of Esau, Edom. All right. Verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Right, that USSR spirit is being put back on these Russians, man. And I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So Russia is being stirred up. Okay, Russia is being strengthened and gathered, all right, to be an opposing force to the West. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. Okay, modern day Persia is Iran. Ethiopia and Libya being that North African country. With them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer dealing with Turkey and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. See, so Russia is going to be a guard unto Persia, modern day Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, Gomer, which is modern day Turkey, and many other nations in this Third World War. All right. There was another headline that I seen. Russia, Turkey to hold talks as Moscow seeks to keep Syria military bases. What to know? So yeah, man, that's just another quick update on World War III and biblical prophecy. All right. We'll definitely keep our eye on this and see how this all plays out. All right, but most definitely, okay, the Lord has things coming together. All right, so with that, I'm close out. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honor to our apostles and elders, great most soul, and taught us truth and rule well. And peace and blessings to the elect. To the next, I say shalom.